All right. So as always, you can always choose your own centering position if you've got something that's calling for you today. Otherwise, I will invite you into a supine Shavasana, so all the way down on your back, as if it's a gentle nap time. And taking a moment or two when you first get there to allow your mind to realize the sensation of having all of the muscles along the back side of the body fully supported, possibly for the first time all day. Notice how that feels. First physically, but also how does that feel emotionally? Does it bring a sense of stability? Maybe a sense of support? Notice the breath. Feeling that sensation anywhere in your body. Could be at the nose, could be at the throat, could be the belly. Not necessarily changing anything, but just noticing to start. And then if you haven't already, bringing a light seal to the lips. If that's comfortable, then breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. And possibly, if it's a fit for you, lengthening the inhale. As you accommodate that sensation, bringing the exhale just a count or two longer than the inhale. As we move through the different shapes today, I'll remind you to bring your mind back to a focal point or an anchor. If your breath is a fit for that, you can use your breath, this lengthened inhale, flowing into a lengthened exhale. Another option would be to focus on a color or a light. Or you can focus on an intention or an affirmation that resonates with you today. So taking a moment to just check in See if anything comes to mind, and then holding that in your mind as your anchor. Take about 2 to 3 more cycles. Lengthen inhale, flowing into lengthen exhale. Your pace, not rushing. And then gradually bringing small movements back into the body. So that could be just starting with some wiggles and any parts of the body that feels right for you. It might be a stretch, might be shifting side to side, just any movement that feels natural, organic, and supportive right now. Eventually, I'm going to invite you to hug your knees into your chest, one knee at a time, pulling it up to your chest, giving it a light squeeze. And then you're going to use that as a fulcrum to help yourself all the way up to a comfortable seated pose. So you can roll over to one side, you can rock side to side, rock back and forth. Anything to come to a comfortable seated position for yourself. So you can have any number of props or blocks and go ahead and sit on one of them if that helps to lengthen the spine. We're wanting to have a firm foundation, but then get that spine to stack in its natural curves with plenty of space between the tailbone and the crown of the head, reaching up. And then I'm going to introduce Nadi Shoshana, a pranayama practice. You're going to use your right hand. Left hand can just stay resting however is comfortable. I tend to, for this, you're going to bring your right hand towards your face. I tend to like to have my first 2 fingers right at my third eye. That's what's most comfortable for me. Other folks tuck it down into the palm so that you have your ring finger and your thumb available. So you can choose what works best for you. But once you have your hand set up, you're going to bring the ring finger against the left nostril. Breathe in fully through the right. Close off the right with the thumb. Release the left and exhale. Inhale through the left. Close it off. Release the right. Exhale. Inhale right. Close it off. Release left and exhale. Inhale left. Close that. Release right. And then go ahead and take it at your pace. You always inhale through the same nostril that you just had exhaled from. And then switch sides. Taking it at your pace, regardless of how fast or slow anybody else around you is going. And then bringing to mind the idea of balancing the energy. So we have what are called nadis, or energy channels, that run throughout our body. And there's two major ones that run up, intertwining around our spine. And these energy channels, when we practice Nadi Shavana, we practice balancing. So the energy up the right channel, energy up the left channel becomes more balanced, which helps to balance the energy in our brain, our nervous system, emotions, and body. We're going to do a total of about 10 rounds. We did 3 rounds together, so if you continue to count, then somewhere around the 10th round, go ahead and bring your hands back to your lap. Once you've completed 10 rounds or thereabouts, or whenever you feel that you have evened out both sides, release the right hand down and take a lengthened inhale and exhale, and then resume your normal, organic, comfortable breath. And then check in. Notice if there was any shift, any change in any sensations. And then eventually blinking the eyes open, reacclimating to the space. Go ahead and extend the legs along to just move the blood flow again after holding it for a few minutes. We're going to move into shape for our root chakra. So opening up, actually focusing on the psoas muscle. I'm going to advise that you have quite a few props around you. We're going to do either a variation of, well, it'll be a variation, but either supported runner's lunge or lizard. So 1 foot forward, it doesn't really matter what leg you start on. I'm going to start with my right. And then, so for your props, probably, I'll offer some options, but probably on the inside of the right foot to start with. Starting to slide that left leg back behind you until you can feel a really significant opening along the front of the hip and quadricep on the left side. Now those props that you have stacked up, a couple different options. You can rest elbows down on those stacked props. If you have enough and you want to stack them underneath the right, I don't quite have enough to get to my right hip here, but you can rest that hip on them instead if that feels better for you. And then from there, hands can either be on either side or inside. So any variation, and then just adjust and move around as you need to. And then back to your anchor. Find your breath. Also see a variation here that is actually called winged dragon, where you turn the right toes out to the edge of the mat with that right knee kind of fall open. So that's another adjustment that might feel good for some. Taking a lengthened inhale. And use that inhale to help gently and slowly start to ease back. Move the hips back up in space. Lengthen out that front leg. Shift the heels side to side. Shift the shoulders back and forth. Then on an inhale, go ahead and swing that leg back around, down. Flip the hips side to side, maybe a cat-cow, anything that feels good for this kind of rebound time. And then eventually an inhale draws the left leg forward. And moving right directly into any of those same variations. So playing around with it on this side, knowing that this other side often doesn't feel quite exactly the same, so you may need a different adaptation to have the sensation that feels like you're creating spaciousness, releasing tension, and not pushing the body so far that you're creating aches or pains or imbalances. For each of the 7 major energy centers, read an affirmation or intention or just kind of a intentionality card, I guess I'll call it. So for the base chakra that is associated with this psoas muscle right at our tailbone energy, I create stability and security by adequately providing myself with the basic needs of a healthy life, such as shelter, food, water, and clothing. I use my creativity to build a strong foundation, as this is an essential key to my survival. The more inner and outer stability I have, the more grounded and fulfilling my life will become. I respect myself and take care of my physical body by nurturing and nourishing it. Taking 2 more rounds of breath here. And then an inhale again, carefully, slowly, brings you back up. Shifting the hips back, lifting the torso, and then straightening out that front leg, shifting hips side to side. Eventually coming into tabletop, and then either curve the spine, or cat-cow, barrel rolls, anything that feels good. So when we do that lizard variation, it is not just psoas. Obviously, as I'm sure all of us could feel, it also really hits the hip area. So for the next energy center, for the sacral energy center, we're going to move into either pigeon facing the mat, so pulling right knee up behind right wrist, shifting left leg back. You have some props that you could stack underneath that right hip to support so that your pelvis stays a little bit more parallel and you're not getting quite so much sensation and intensity into the soft tissue. Or coming all the way down onto your back is another variation with the right ankle crossed over the left knee, either keeping it there if you already feel sensation, or then letting that left knee float up and in. If you have chosen a supine variation of pigeon, you're welcome to stay upright, come to your elbows, or release the torso forward any amount. And then back to your anchor. Taking an inhale. Start to lift yourself back up. Some might choose to swing this right leg back and come into a downward facing dog. I tend to like to shift over to the right hip, swing the left leg around, and do windshield wiper. If there's anything else that feels better for you to get that blood flowing back through the joints, go ahead and take it. And then bringing this all the way back to the other side. So you can come through tabletop, you can go into downward facing dog, or you can bring that left leg parallel to the top edge of the mat, left foot over towards the right edge, and then swing that right leg around. Bring your hips to lift up again and get a little bit more parallel of the pelvis to the floor. And again, if you come into the supine pigeon on this side and it just doesn't feel like a good fit for today, take it on your back, crossing left ankle over right knee. Sacral chakra is a source where we can find our abundance. I am worthy and I deserve an abundance of anything that I require. I watch my thoughts to ensure that I am honoring and respecting myself. I honor myself by knowing that I am worthy to receive and I am open to receive. I remind myself it is a source of strength to ask for help. Taking it in. Start to move ourselves up. And then same as the other side, either down dog, tabletop, and shifting yourself to the left side, just in the right leg around. Anything that makes sense for you. Taking that movement, either subtle movements or large movements, to get the blood flowing and release any sensation or tension that may have built up in any of the joints. And then eventually we're going to make our way all the way down onto our backs. Supporting yourself as you come down. Lengthening the legs long. And releasing the crown of the head to the floor. Bringing the left foot to the floor, knee up to the ceiling. Crossing the right leg over it. We're going to come into a reclined eagle pose. So for most of us, it'll just be crossing the right leg over the left in any amount. It could be the ankle, could be crossing at the knees. For some folks, it may be intertwining at the lower leg, tucking the right toes behind the left calf, but that is just extra. It doesn't need to be. And then bringing your arms out wide like wings. We're going to take an inhale, draw the arms together, and then cross left over right. And then from there, you can either drop the hands to opposite shoulders, like you're giving yourself a hug, or back to the palms together and bring the fists to the third eye, or you can intertwine and grab the palms together. And then from here, you are welcome to hang out right here. If you would like to add a twist, a reclined twist, you can press into that left foot, shift the hips slightly to the right, and then let both knees fall over to the left. If you're going to do the twist, for me, I really struggle with keeping my body centered if I do arms and legs, so I unwind the arms if I'm going to do the twist. You choose any variation that feels good for today. Moving slowly again. Your inhale initiates the movement to gently unwind anything that's twisted or wrapped. Placing both feet on the floor, coming back to center with the spine lengthened on. And let the breath flow. And then eventually taking that to the other side. So your right foot will be on the floor, crossing the left leg over the right in any position that is good on this side. Either just crossing over or doing that double wrap. Taking an inhale to expand the arms out wide and then exhale to draw them together. Crossing right over the left and then either opposite shoulders, intertwining the arms in the module, palms together and at the third eye. Choice to either hang out right here or press into that right foot, shift the hips to the left and let the knees fall over to the right. Then find the anchor. The solar plexus. I trust myself fully. I will not allow fear or doubt to hold me back from doing what I am here to do. I have confidence, belief, and conviction in my abilities and goals, and I welcome questioning by others as this gives me a chance to clarify my true ideas and philosophies. I am open to new challenges. Moving with your breath, unwinding, untwisting, and back to center. We're going to stay on our back and move into a heart opener. So using a prop. And then setting that prop up so that it is about between the shoulder blades, depending on your prop, depending on the height of it, depending on the length of it, you may need to adjust, but generally you want the length of the prop to be able to kind of cascade over, the shoulder blades cascade over the prop, so that as you release back down, the heart can shine up and forward. Again, depending on the height of it and how it feels on your neck, it may be helpful to have a second prop, either of the same height or varying height, adjusted so that as you lay over the first one, the back of the skull can land on the second one, if that feels better in your cervical spine. Either way, letting those upper arm bones fall open so that the side ribs, the armpits, the sternum, everything across the front and side of the chest can just drape over and open up. If you do not feel the need for a prop behind your neck and you bring the back of the skull down to the floor, then this is actually a 2-for-1 where you're getting both the heart and the throat. But you listen to your body, find what works best for you in a position that you'll be able to hold for a couple minutes. For the heart, I allow myself to be open to giving, receiving love without fear of rejection. I give without expecting recognition or acknowledgement in return. When I am loving to others, I am helping to bring out the innate love within them so that they also feel uplifted, worthy, and cared for. I love myself the way I am, not the way I was or could be, and I extend this love to others. Now, particularly if you have the extension of the cervical spine with the back of the skull on the floor, take your time coming out of this by inhaling and bringing your hands to the skull. On an inhale, gently guide the head back up, tucking the chin into the chest to start. And then once you're there, you can either roll over to one side to remove the prop or all the way over onto your side to put yourself and face the mat. I'm going to move directly into child's pose. If you would like to start in puppy pose, that can kind of counteract some of the shoulder and throat movement that we were just doing. So you can hold puppy pose for a moment, or if you prefer, slide the hips down to the heels and come right directly into child's pose. The third eye right at the floor. As we transition between the two, I'll go ahead and offer the throat chakra. I am truthful and honest with myself. I aim to overcome any fears about speaking my truth, and I speak in a loving, considerate way. My personal empowerment comes from telling the truth and letting others know who I am. Others will be positively uplifted when they hear my truth, and I take care not to exaggerate in order to try and impress them. I am careful not to let my mind mislead me, and in turn mislead others. I avoid speaking negatively of others. Bring the mind back to the breath, back to the anchor. With the third eye, I'm aware of my thoughts and I ask myself, are they uplifting? Are they true? I do this because I know that my thoughts significantly affect my mental, emotional, and physical health, and because I know that my body believes everything that I believe. I am not in control of all situations that come my way, nor am I in control of what others do or say. However, I do have free will as to how I respond in every situation. I choose to respond to all situations from an enlightened position rather than just reacting. As we transition into final rest, you are welcome to take final rest in child's pose if that feels comfortable for you. Otherwise, for today, you can slide yourself forward and all the way down onto your belly. Stack the hands and come into a prone shavasana. If laying on your belly for final rest does not feel restful, go ahead and flip over onto your back or come into any other shape, position, or situation that does feel restful for you. Deepening the inhales and exhales. If you're in a prone shavasana, really feeling the belly and the chest press against the floor as you fill the lungs on you. Open a mouth, sigh if that feels good on the exhale, letting everything release. Doing one back. And then inhale, forcing yourself to roll over to one side. Pausing in fetal position just for a moment to acclimate. Perhaps even blinking the eyes open to adjust to the environment. And then eventually an inhale presses you up to seated. Hands either land down on the legs if that's best for you, or you can rest the base of the palm right at the base of the sternum, fingertips pointing up. Breathing against the wrists and palms to engage that vagal nerve, sense of rest. The seventh chakra at the crown. I am kind to all. I am aware that everything I do or say affects others around me. I will help those who seek it, and I will seek out ways to be of service. Everything I do from the perspective that all beings are interconnected. Bring to mind thought of gratitude for this practice that came from the culture of the ancients in India, and they were willing to pass it down. And then perhaps maybe thought of gratitude for anything else currently in your life. Anything that brings you joy, thankfulness, peace. Take a lengthened inhale together. Exhale and lower the chin towards the chest. Om Shanti, peace. Thank you all.